Hey, everybody, in this episode of Box Office Breakdown, Venom clings to the #1 spot, and sadly, Ryan Gosling took one giant leap to third place. We'll break all that down and more next.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Box Office Breakdown.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Box Office Breakdown. This, of course, is a show where we look back at the box office that was, and then we like to
prognosticate.
about the box office that lie ahead. I'm Frank Moran.
Oh, God. Sorry, I'm Amy Cassandra Martinez.
Hey there, I'm Kari Lane.
And of course, folks, like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we're going to have the chat up and running. I know Carrie's
I have it here,
eagerly looking at it right now.
Yes.
Excited to hear all your thoughts and opinions. So jump in there. But Carrie, if they're watching this after we stream live, what can they do?
Oh, you all can comment down below.
Oh, fantastic. And, subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're there. Give it a thumbs up, or 2, or 3, or 4.
Oh, we can reach better.
Yes, however you may like.
Woo.
All right, so we will jump right into it there. Our top 5. Look at this. This week, Venom, once again, stuck around, which just increases the odds of us seeing a Venom 2, which makes me sad.
What?
Well, we talked about it. We didn't get to hear your opinion on it.
Well, briefly, 35.7 for this week. I saw it, and I didn't hate the movie, but it's just a dumb movie. And the only thing that excited me was at the very end when you see the extended clip from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That excited me way more than anything I saw in the film. Tom Hardy, committed, but man, he's just on a different page than everybody else. Michelle Williams, underused. The fact that they made all the symbiotes the same color, so the big climatic battle scene, you're watching like
It is hard to tell,
2 lumps just doing their own thing. And Tom Hardy, I love that scene where he's like, yeah, man, I need to get in this lobster tank. This is what I need to do right now.
Okay, that
was a good scene. No, that was very he's committed.
And I think just ultimately it's because I love Spider-Man so much and I feel like Venom is such a part of the Spider-Man mythos that to take Venom out of the Spider-Man universe and not have any kind of affiliation whatsoever with him, for me, just like, why do I care about this character? And I know he's
because he's so cool.
He's not cool.
It made us, we were talking about how much it made us like Venom as a character because we're like, oh, we don't know this character that much. And it's like, oh, I like him.
Yeah, but there are like plot hole things. Like, so like he goes to the doctor to go get this EKG or whatever.
Yeah.
And, he goes body scan or whatever.
Yeah.
And I found out that, MRI. Thank you. Yeah, we were going to say 3-letter doctor things until we nail it.
CAT scan.
But that his heart is being destroyed. And of course the symbiote says, and I said, oh, I can fix it. But that's never brought up again.
So it's not a plot
So that means that he
It
fixed
is.
it.
It is because,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
But the idea is that if it's a perfect connection, that means that everything's fine. But if this thing is still deteriorating its heart, why do we never bring that up? And Eddie Brock is all cool about like, well, yeah, I guess we're together again. I know you're killing me, but I guess we're together. Cool.
But I mean, he can't be slowly killing him forever because then they would both die.
Maybe it's the beginning where they're, it's figuring it out. And then it's like, then we're good. Yeah.
Well, cool. Glad we found that out in the course of the film.
Yeah,
I guess
we
just have to
did.
assume that. No, none of us did. None of us did.
Wasn't a problem for us.
It was a dumb problem.
Well, as you can tell, we liked it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was surprisingly not that bad.
Well,
oh, no,
please
that
put that on the
doesn't sell
poster.
it.
No, I was really worried. I
True.
was really, really worried that this was going to be really bad, only because of what people were saying even just a few days before I saw it. And then, I mean, it was kind of one of those things where I was like, I don't want to see it. And then it happened. I was like, hey,
well,
as it was going on. And then I was laughing.
You say you're into Spider-Man, but we have someone chiming in from the chat now.
Please.
Ed Mad Jack says, no, Venom is what keeps Eddie alive in the comics. So it's okay if he's like killing him, but that's what's keeping him alive.
Well, because it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yes.
And we saw it many times with their healing broken bones. But the idea that the scientist sets at the beginning is that you're looking for this ideal compatible match. That everything that goes in sync. And so then if the body's deteriorating in any way, shape, or form, then that makes me think it's not a complete match.
No, like I get
that
it.
They keep talking about.
But like, no.
But regardless,
It was so fun. Calm down.
It's not a fun movie.
Yes, it was.
It was pretty good.
I didn't have the ire that I had for this, like, say, for Batman versus Superman or the animated film Batman and Harley Quinn. That's a horrible garbage movie. But this was just like, all right. Okay. But I have no interest in seeing a sequel. But I'm sure when it comes out, as it soon will, and we'll see Woody Harrelson in that ridiculous red wig.
Oh.
We did all agree that was pretty bad. And Michelle Williams' wig was bad, too.
She's just underused. And just
she could have done more, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not great. But we will see what happens in Venom 2? That makes me sad because that's only going to give Sony license to say like, yeah, let's get that Morbius, let's get that Kraven the Hunter movie going.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I mean, like, here's the thing. Even worst case scenario, they're not as fantastic as you would like these movies to be. More people are being exposed to these characters that wouldn't have been otherwise.
Great.
I think that's a great thing.
I think it's great. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. What worries me is that the writer for Kraven's the Kraven film is saying that they want to adapt Kraven's Last Stand, which is a great story, but it doesn't necessitate the need of Spider-Man. So it'll be interesting to see how Sony and Marvel will work out that arrangement. If they want to tell that story, are they going to be able to use Tom Holland?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that story would be, you can't really do that story without Spider-Man involved. But I also feel like that film is really built up on the history of Spider-Man and Kraven interacting and being opponents for years and years and years, and then you can tell that story because there's a lot more depth and meaning. To just do it as a one-off film, I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, coming to number 2, I'm sure it'll be bad. A Star Is Born came in for its second week, another $28 million.
Did you see that one?
I've not had a chance to see it yet.
What?
There you go. I know,
Okay.
I've been a little busy.
Yeah. Will you be watching it?
I would like to check it out, though. I mean, I've heard that it's not too bad. Or it's not too bad.
Okay.
Right.
I like the inconsistencies of how much
Yeah.
it's sad, and then other people, you were saying you didn't cry.
I didn't cry, but I loved it.
Okay.
But I think a huge part of that was my love for Lady Gaga. And just, like, she's fantastic. I love her.
Well, how much of that is also for your inability to cry?
I think that has to do something with it. I have no soul, so
You're just like Frank.
Yeah, well, I know you lost your tear ducts in a tragic accident.
it was called Life Itself. That's what happened.
Yeah.
They just like,
Oh, all right. I'm sorry. What a shame that we didn't.
Stop it. Whatever.
Yes, I think you were the only person that saw it that weekend.
The only person, is that what you said? I'm
Yeah.
choking because that is just atrocious.
All right. Yep. So was that film.
You're
Coming in at number 3, one of our 2 new entries to the top 5. First Man with Ryan Gosling from Universal. Felt like it didn't quite do as people had hoped it will. Came in at $16.5 million. Was also the subject, I believe, of last week's box office bet.
Yes, I think I was on the lower end.
I know Anthony said he did 25.
Oh, right, I was low. Then who?
Oh, I most definitely did not win.
You were high, right?
I'm pretty sure I was.
Okay. And then
Or really
I think I was in the middle. Yeah, I was like, it's one of those.
I'm pretty sure I lost.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
What was your bet?
I can't remember.
We don't want to worry about
I
numbers or
can't
anything
remember, but
specific.
I'm pretty sure I lost, which is fine because I already saw it.
And did you enjoy it?
And
I did. I really enjoyed
Okay.
it. I personally have never been to the moon, so it felt like I was there. It was so cool. I saw it in IMAX. Yeah, just IMAX. So yeah, I'm choking. I'm not
But
even
how
kidding.
much that was, how much my movie touched you? Is that what you're talking about?
Sure.
Okay,
It's just,
cool.
since we started, it's just been like a slow thing.
I do like that you so bravely confessed that you were one of the few people that have never been to the moon. Thank you for taking
Yeah,
that,
you know what? I
opening
think
yourself
someone
up
had
like
to do that. So
Yeah. Yes.
I took one for the team. But yeah, no, it was really good.
I had a friend suggest, like, if you can afford it, get the 4DX kind of like experience of it, like the chairs that I saw one of the Star Trek movies like that, and that was actually really fun because it does feel like you're in outer space because it'll be like bumpy. There's the ship's doing something and then it like stops, and I'm like, yeah, that would be pretty fun to see it for certain kind of movies where you get to really feel the experience of outer space or something. Yeah, I might catch it later. I don't know. It's a movie that I'm like,
You haven't seen
sure.
it?
Yeah, it's neutral interest of like, I'm not, ooh, no, I don't want to see it, but I'm not like super excited.
Do space movies in general excite you, like Apollo 13? Or
I liked Apollo 13, and I
HBO
had mentioned,
miniseries?
I'd mentioned last time, oh, actually, you can answer that because I was kind of curious. With Hidden Figures, it's interesting with this movie. I'm like, are those people present? Because that was the whole point of that movie, that those people existed. And from the trailer, every person's white, pretty much.
So, it touches on a certain perspective of things. So, no.
Okay.
But I think I saw, it was like a first look. I think they showed like 2 minutes of the movie and something else that I saw, I don't remember. And it showed a scene where it's literally like it's they're blasting off into space, and that's what first, like, oh wow, it first interests me to watch the First Man, because before then it was kind of like you. I was like, okay, cool, like Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy, space. But after seeing that, I was like, wow, there are certain moments in the film where why?
I would have liked that if that would have been the actual as the title billing in the film. Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy, space.
Yeah,
whoa, all right.
Yeah, sure, totally, kind of it. But no, it's so much more than that, because there are moments where you're literally like, I feel like I'm in there, and it's just I mean, in school they didn't go through everything, with us, at least in Texas, we didn't go through like, this is everything that happened leading up, to the first man on the moon. It's just like, and then this happened, whoop-de-doo. So it was nice to get that backstory. It was way more exciting than I thought, It's just a lot.
But I also feel like that's always a problem with history classes in high school.
Yeah.
Is that the present day, the more current to our lifetime, keeps getting shorter. They get less and less covered. They spend so much time in the Revolutionary War or
I know.
Civil War or whatnot. But by the time you get anything from like after World War II up to present, I feel like it just gets crammed because you're at the end of the year. You're like, all right, we're just going to cover all this stuff really quick, and then that's it.
Yeah, which was a bummer because that was my favorite part, because I actually understood like kind of where America was. So things just got easier, but then it was just like, here you go, 2 weeks of school, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're here today. And like, what? Okay.
Yep.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Coming in number 4, Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween.
I did see that.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Did you see Goosebumps?
The first one, yeah. Did you say the amount yet?
It is coming in at $16.2 million.
People like to know.
That's right.
Yes, I saw the first one. I think the first one touched upon being a little more scary, and this one is more family friendly. And not to say that is less dull or entertaining, but it's not. It's a Halloween focused movie, but it's not scary really at all. They don't go for that way. There is humor in it. I feel they could have punched up the humor a little bit more, because there were the moments that were funny, but it felt like you can have a little bit more since they're not going the scarier route. Because the first one I think had a darker tone to it, a little more mysterious, and this one was a little more just fun. It was very entertaining, and R.L. Stein's character is in it just like a little bit, because that was something that was interesting we talked about on Horror Movie News, also on Popcorn Talk Network. That with the news on that is Jack Black wasn't really announced as being in the movie till like really shortly before it came out. I was like, wow, that's weird. I think he would really push it, but his character's in it more like towards the end, because the idea is these kids solving the problem on their own, and Slappy is the main bad guy, and they do a lot of fun stuff with him. And I think the best moments that were kind of creepy that I liked is where it's the puppet actually like moving little gestures. But when he walks, it kind of kills it. Kind of like with Happy Time Murders. Like when he walks, that just kind of kills it. Though with Happy Time, I did like how they showed you how they walk. But with this one, it felt too CGI when he walked, and that just kind of took you out of it. But when he's, just like waist up, like at a bed, and he turns his head to like look at somebody, you
scared me.
She's already like, ugh. But that was really effective, I felt, and that like kind of added the creepiness that should be there being a Halloween thing. So it's very fun if you like Halloween. There's a really cool part. I don't want to spoil how it happens, but like the idea is he's bringing Halloween things and items to life, and at a Halloween display, stuff comes to life, and it was like, oh, that's a good visual way to represent that. So yeah, if you want to be in the Halloween mood, I think it's a good one. Maybe more of a matinee one, or family if you have like younger people with you. Like maybe not quite, Saturday date night movie exactly. No, it might be a little subpar if you're going in for like super scary or whatever. And then also the 2 boys that are in it also came on Horror Movie News as a thing as well. So then I was curious to see it.
Oh, look at that. Does Jack Black play the same character in the first film too?
Yeah, he plays R.L. Stein. And actually, side note, which is really funny, if you actually have read Goosebumps books and had seen R.L. Stein's image, he is in the movie. He has a cameo. He like presents an award. Oh. And I was like, that's actually R.L. Stein, but I bet nobody's going to know that. Also, this one's a little bit less of like the stories coming to life, because the first one was a little bit more of like, you go, oh yeah, I remember that book. This one has some of it, but it's less about that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Coming in at number 5, rounding out their top 5 for the week, Smallfoot from Warner Brothers, $9.3 million. Have not seen that. Anybody else that have braved the box office, the theaters, to go see this?
I didn't see this one. I saw a different one that unfortunately didn't make it to the top.
Which was?
What is?
And?
Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yes,
right.
that was a disappointment. That was our third one for the new ones. It's a shame. I saw it as well too.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Well, wait, when you say disappointment, like because it didn't make it to the top 5, or disappointment because you felt disappointed?
No, I comparing it to Cabin in the Woods, I think
Yeah.
if I had to choose those two films, I would pick Cabin in the Woods over Bad Times at the El Royale. And Bad Times at the El Royale isn't. It's fine. I had a good time watching
It was subpar for what you expected.
It is long, but it's like almost there. It's like just like so close to being like a movie that I really enjoy. But as it is, I was just like, all right, it's fine.
Fair enough.
Well, so here's the thing. I remember watching the trailer for it maybe once. And then I realized when the movie was starting that I didn't remember anything from the trailer because it was so long ago. So I was like, wow, I really don't know what this movie's about. All I heard that it was, is that it was good. So, yeah, when, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes in, you're like, oh, okay. I feel like Cabin in the Woods and Bad Times are kind of like apples and pears. Not apples and oranges, because that's completely different. But like pears.
Similar,
So, yeah,
but not
like
quite.
cousins.
So
Yeah. I loved it.
okay.
I loved it. I thought it was really good. It would surprise me. Dakota Johnson surprised me too. I'm not a huge fan of hers because of what we've seen, unfortunately.
I like your
in certain
reactions
things.
here. Those listening on iTunes, you should come watch YouTube because Frank's facial reaction.
All right, yeah.
Well, anyway, I thought she did a really good job.
I thought she was underserved.
Underserved, but
Yes.
that she did really well with what she was given.
I guess she did the best she could with what she had.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Chris Hemsworth?
Now let's talk
like-
about Chris Hemsworth's abs. Those
Okay,
are
like-
phenomenal.
Good for him. Good for him. But like his role in it was so different for me. Again, I recommend watching it without knowing what it's about. And even saying like, oh, Cabin in the Woods, but like still, you're like, what? For sure. Because I was like, dang, dude.
There's a lot of
You're
movies that I feel are
creepy.
even better the less you know, the better your
Yeah.
experience is. Like I was recommending a couple movies to a friend, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell you anything. Just know that I really like this one and you should watch it because
Yeah.
you already have your preconceived notions when you think you know what it's about.
I feel like, I don't know if you two agree, but when you watch a trailer and the way it's cut and the music choices that they make and they give you a certain feeling that this feeling that at least the trailer invokes, that you hope when you see the full film you're gonna get that same feeling from.
Yeah.
I feel like when I saw the trailer for Bad Times at the El Royale, I came away with like, yes, this looks awesome,
It was a good trailer.
and I never quite got to that point watching the full film.
Which is,
I feel you on that. That was me for Hellfest of like, oh, this trailer looks awesome, and I felt the movie subpar delivered. Like, oh, you could have been so much better.
Yeah.
So that's the worst. Is not like a movie that you go, oh, this is bad, but when you go, oh, you had potential. Like if you had done just a couple things differently, it could have been even better, and then you're just disappointed. You're like, oh.
well, I mean, so there's this movie, and this is how not amazing the trailer was, but it's with Clint Eastwood. And it's, I mean,
Gran Torino.
it's a new one. It's a new one that's coming out. And he basically starts and he finds weed or coke, okay, some kind of drug in the back of his truck. And then, like, stuff spirals, whatever. And the trailer is so forgettable and so bad that literally I don't want to watch it. So I think it's almost better to have it the other way where you're like, yeah, because then that helps the box office numbers as opposed to like a sucky trailer for a really good movie.
Well, we're assuming it's a really good movie. We have no idea.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
I hope it would be good.
Actually, real quick, because it was the trailer right before the movie started. Speaking of trailers, A Dog's Way Home, so same kind of people as A Dog's Purpose. I was bawling my eyes out the whole trailer, and then I'm like, this sucks to watch right before this fun like kids movie, and I'm like, I had my first dog go missing, so that gives context. And then the trailer tells you the whole thing, and I'm like, well, I guess that's good, because then I don't have that anxiety of like, do you get the dog back?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, mine didn't come back. So like this movie, it's interesting how trailers can be so effective or not. Because same thing, Dog's Purpose. I was like bawling my eyes out on that trailer too.
Oh,
And yeah, right. And so it's the
dream,
same
yeah.
one, like same people, but it's dog goes missing and trailer will tell you everything else.
Thank you, John Forsythe. The movie with Clint Eastwood is called The Mule. Yeah.
All right.
Let me know what you guys think when you watch that lovely trailer.
Before we move on to talking about international numbers real quick,
Yeah.
any other films anyone has seen?
I was like, wait, I felt like I did, but no.
Okay.
Well, nope.
All right.
Well, I've been doing my...
No, we're gonna
Yes. Hey.
Just kidding.
Her Halloween 30 days.
Yeah, it's sometimes...
You did
it's,
like Halloween 3 or 4 the other day.
Well, all of them. Well, I'm making my way through it.
What was the last one you just watched then?
Well, I started watching The Curse of Michael Myers today. And when I say I started, I mean like the first like 5 minutes because I realized I had to watch something else first.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been watching, I mean, last weekend I think we talked about, Prom Night and other ones. But yeah, I've been making my way through the Halloween franchise.
Favorite one so far?
What?
Favorite one so far?
Well, I love the first one, and then I guess I would say the second one, and then the fourth one and the fifth one. The third one is weird. But yeah, I had only seen the first one before this month. So all the other ones are like for the first time. And freaking Danielle Harris as Jamie, the little girl. She's fantastic. How come no one said she's so good? I'm very passionate about this right now.
No, that's great.
She's fantastic.
No, that was a good character, but what they do with that character later on in the franchise?
Well, the way The Curse of Michael Myers started, I'm furious, so I'm glad I didn't have to finish it today. But yeah, fourth movie and then the fifth one. So good. So good.
And I know there's is it the producer's cut, director's cut, I can't remember, for Curse of Michael Myers that is available too as well. That has some things different than the theatrical cut that I haven't had a chance to watch. But so who knows if it would make me enjoy the movie better? I don't know if it would, but I've always been curious to at least check it out a little bit.
What's been fun too is I do it on my Insta stories where I put polls.
Yeah,
or
your
like,
thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, and even also like the slidey thing where you can say like how much you like it. And I feel like I have a lot of like different opinions from most people because a lot of people didn't like the fourth one. Or, the fourth or the fifth. But they really liked the third one. I'm like, the third one sucked for me.
Well, I mean, it's a completely change of pace. I mean, the idea is that they're going to try to do once a year kind of just its own kind of, anthology type of film. Mm-hmm. And that would be where the series would continue. But since the third one wasn't as well received, then they kind of steered back to, hey, let's get that Michael Myers money going. Mm-hmm. But I think people, and I haven't seen it in a long time either. So I would like to go back and watch it because people do look back on it now and think that it is a good film.
Well, that franchise, they just had the Halloween 40 anniversary convention thing, so.
That's true.
It is a popular franchise.
Very much so.
Which we'll be talking about the new one shortly. Yay!
That's right. Yes, I've seen that. So.
Stop.
I can't. I did see it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Just a second.
Okay.
All right.
Oh boy.
International numbers, guys.
Yes.
Venom didn't just do well domestically, it also did well internationally. It topped the charts again with $105.4 million, including $69.7 million at the international box office. The Tom Hardy film has lifted its global total to $378.1 million, and after 12 days overseas, $235.5 million. It's number one in 54 markets, so look at that. It's down 47% versus last weekend. And it's tracking 32% above Ant-Man and the Wasp and 12% over Doctor Strange for the same group of markets.
Interesting.
Star is Born saw a drop of just 14% since it took the stage last weekend. It's a $20.2 million in 65 markets, lifts the offshore total to $41.2 million. And First Man came in at $8.6 million in 22 markets. So of those, only the UK, Australia, and Spain are the majors, with the rest of the international rolling out this month and next. They feel like perhaps it's being hindered by its 2 hour and 21-minute running time, but it should see some traction through the award season with nods towards Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy, and some technical achievements as well. And The House with the Clock in Its Walls crossed $100 million worldwide. And Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation still going strong. $350 million internationally for a $517 million global total.
Yay.
Yikes. There you go. So, folks, First Man, subject to last week's box office bet, but we keep on doing it every single week because we loved that high-stakes gambling for box office totals. And this week we've got one film, and I feel I'll say if you love horror films, probably the only film that you're worried about this month at all, and that's Halloween, the 40th anniversary of Michael Myers' return to Haddonfield. Dun, dun, dun. That'll be coming out from Universal, 3,700 screens. I did get a chance to see this movie. It's it was good, and I have some quibbles with the ending. So
Okay.
there you go. But otherwise, it was fun to watch a movie that kind of just give you that feeling that you want when you watch a good horror movie, where you
I
just
was
kind
gonna
of
say,
feel.
is it scary? Yeah.
It just kind of gives you that tension throughout the film, which is
good.
great, and that's I feel like you want that feeling of tension throughout the film.
Be on edge. All
Yeah,
right.
so I did like that. We'll talk about more about the ending later on.
Later.
Yeah, and I think it all comes down to how you like your storytelling versus the horror movie genre. How you like that. I think that comes down to it. I feel like I lean more towards the storytelling as opposed to the conventions of the genre.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, not that it's super horror, but Goosebumps 2, there is nothing special at the very end or anything like that. I stayed through the credits. I'm well, just kidding. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because, horror movies always seem to have something later, but no.
No, this was. Feel free to leave the theater
Nothing
after
at the end?
Yeah, when
Okay.
the credits start rolling, you can just
It's
mosey on out.
There we go. We should maybe mention that sometimes if they're... We tell people to stay because there's some movies we're like, why are people leaving? Like
Yeah.
Venom, people were
Amateurs.
leaving in that theater. I'm like, what are you doing?
I can understand why, because it's a bad movie. But you're robbing yourself of a chance to leave in a great mood, because that Into the Spider-Verse clip is great, and that little bit alone got me excited when I was leaving the theater.
Well, also fair enough. John Forths in the chat says, quibbles with the ending of a horror film? What are the odds? Good point. I feel those endings can be either you like it, but most horror films have that open ending? Question mark? And you're just like, oh. Well, because sometimes it feels not like the director or filmmakers made a commitment to the ending. It just feels like, well, we're going to let you decide. And I feel sometimes that's lazy of them making it. I'm like, no, you made this movie. I want to know what you thought. And then I can adjust how I feel on it too. I don't necessarily I want to know, Amy, what did you think of that ending? This is how I felt. It depends how it's done. Sometimes it's done really well. I can't think of any that I really like that way. But most of the time it just feels like,
well,
lack of effort.
If we're talking about Halloween films, let's just dive into. Oh, you haven't seen Halloween H2O.
No, but it's gonna happen this week.
Well, all right.
That's okay.
Yeah?
It's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
Carrie, I'll just focus this towards Carrie. Amy, you pretend that you're here. If you want to
I
listen, you can
haven't
take your
seen it
headphones
yet, but...
You haven't seen Halloween H2O?
No, but if I do, it'll be a long time, so go for it. It's okay.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, of course, we know that was celebrating the 20th anniversary of the film.
Yeah.
And they go back to bringing Jamie Lee Curtis's character into the film.
Yeah.
And at the end, there is a definitive ending. Boom. Loved it. I loved how that definitive ending. And then, the film does well. And then they go, well, you know what? Let's do another film. And then they've got to back themselves out of that really definitive ending. And it's just so ham-fisted. You're like, really? That happened? That's how we get it to where we're at now? So, disappointing. But that was a film that, and I know some people aren't the biggest fans of Halloween H2O, but I just loved it that it just gave you a conclusive ending to what happens between Harry Strode and Michael Myers.
Now, someone's like, yeah, good point. Spoilers for a 20-year-old movie. Yes, but still. With Halloween. Oh, how do you feel essentially where they're like, we're going to ignore every other movie after that first one? How do you feel about that when you watched it? Because I know some people are like, wait, but what about the other ones? It's like, no. We're only pretending that first one existed. None of the other ones ever happened.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I feel like that's not a huge leap to take especially if you're a genre fan, probably you're going to be a sci-fi genre fan as well, too. I feel like there's at least some crossover. So,
Sure.
I mean, they did that with Star Wars. At least it wasn't in terms of televised or films, but more just with novels and an expanded universe that they did separately of films. And Lucasfilm said, nope, all those years that we did all that doesn't count. What really counts is now The Force Awakens.
Okay.
And so it's kind of letting go of everything that you've ever read or played or anything like that is now a new continuity. I was cool with that new continuity. So, yeah.
Okay.
Because I felt like, sadly, because we already had the Rob Zombie versions in between, so that kind of already said, well, we've already rebooted this once.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go back for a third reboot, we can we've already shown that we were not afraid to wipe away everything that's existed before.
Gotcha.
And I felt like by the time you get to the Kristian Michael Myers, what would seem like an intriguing plot had just spiraled so out of control. Like the filmmakers didn't have a good grasp on it, that you get what you'll see by the end of the Kristian Michael Myers. You're like,
well, heck, even 10 minutes in, I'm like, what the heck?
yeah, that where it goes, you're like, oh, really? Okay. So I'm fine with them taking a jump.
Let's pretend those didn't happen. I agree. Yeah.
It would be because I feel like, and they have to go back to 1 as opposed to 2 because I think 2 is when they introduced the idea of possibly sibling relations.
Yes.
So, and I feel like that's something that they wanted to get away
Change.
from. Yeah, and just be like this.
It's
just
so much later that I think it's like, sure, why not?
Yeah. One, I think that most people that aren't really, too big a fan of the, franchise or like don't want to like dedicate millions of hours. It's not millions. That's an exaggeration. But, if they don't want to do that, they'll most likely just watch the first one. So it's like, watch the first one. Bam. Now you're here.
Do you like the idea that they are siblings, or would you rather have it be closer to
Like
what
random?
Yeah, it's just a shapeless figure of violence that just by happenstance takes a.
Both work. Like, that's one where if the filmmaker picked one, I'd be okay with either answer. Like, sure. Based on Star Trek, kind of. Michael Jaycock in the chat says Halloween multiverse.
There you go.
Yes, I like that.
Infinite
that sounds
Michaels
about right. Yeah.
and infinite combinations.
Yes.
That's right.
So it's like, yeah, that works.
So that'll be the film that's going to be the subject of our box office bet. So start chiming away in the chat about what you. Well, there's actually nothing to chime away in the chat because that's the only film we're doing.
Yeah.
On.
No
Very good.
choices, huh?
That was it. So you can just sit back and enjoy the betting process as it goes along.
Make your own bets.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
But before we do that and talk about next week's top 5, we will do a little box office rewind about somebody that's going to be in a film that's coming out this week. And if you're talking about Halloween, who else can you talk about than Michael Myers? No, just kidding. Jamie Lee Curtis herself. So we'll do a little box office rewind of Jamie Lee Curtis's top 5 films. And speaking of her top 5, number 5 is Halloween H2O. Came out back in 98. $16 million when it first came out.
Nice.
And it's got LL Cool
right.
J.
Yeah.
If you want to see LL Cool J in a film.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Plays a security guard. That's great. Josh
I remember like when that came out and how it's one of those like very aware of it, just never sat down. I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch it because also I think I've only seen the first Halloween movie.
Yeah, it's there are touches to what they do with that character that they really kind of accentuate in this one. So yeah, there's some kind of at least some familiar touchstones in both films. How they treat Carrie Strode. Coming to number 4, Christmas with the Cranks. 2004, 21.5 million.
That was kind of painful, as I recall. I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I've seen this movie.
I think I did, and yeah, it was kind of painful.
Yeah, it's painful.
Trying too hard.
Yeah, it's painful. It's forgettable too.
Yeah.
Though. So
By the way,
like,
I've forgotten.
but it's one of those where you're like, okay, I've made my way through all of my, normal movies I would watch during the holiday season.
Yes, there you go.
And it's like, oh, I forgot about this one. It's been a while. Why not? Like,
Yeah.
watch it. Yeah.
And then you remember at the end, like, oh yeah, it is as terrible as I thought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you wait a few years and you forget if you've seen it. And it's
Yep.
just like a circle.
All right.
We're having people chime in a lot of movies that she's done. This is a list of top box office numbers because people are like, wait, what about this one and this one? I'm like, apparently those did not make the box office numbers
Yeah.
unless they're on the list.
Yes. Top box office opening. We're
Yes.
talking about just merely her opening weekends. Coming in number 3, Freaky Friday.
Yes.
There you go.
The original and this one were both cute.
I like the
It was a good update. Yes.
Yeah.
Like the Crypt Keeper. It was a good way to update it because it was, that one was, some of the movies, it's fine to remake it because there are more present day stuff they can address. Like, I don't remember specifically what it was, but it didn't feel like, oh, we've already seen this.
I remember watching the one with Jodie Foster in school, and I was like, wait, what? Because they told us in school, we're going to watch Freaky Friday, so all of us freaked out, and they're like, no, the original one. We're like, wait, what? And then they played it, and some people just didn't know who Jodie Foster was, but I did, because my mom raised me well. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's different.
Yeah.
But just a little quick story with this. At San Diego Comic-Con, I was able to interview Jamie Lee Curtis on a Friday.
Get her, girl.
On a Friday, thank you. On a Friday, and she had that panel for Halloween, and so we literally only had like one question with her, but she came over to me and I was like, wow, what a Freaky Friday it is. And she was, oh wait, it is Friday. And then she told someone else, and then she went onto the panel. She like named that day Freaky Friday.
Aww.
At San Diego Comic-Con. I was like,
because of you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I really thought it was going to be that you had swapped bodies momentarily.
Actually, we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jamie, how are you?
Well, it was momentarily.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's been a few months now.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not quite
Got it.
Comic-Con anymore.
Yeah.
That made 22.2.
Though they had re-registration the other day. Sorry. I'm like, They had returning registration on Saturday,
Oh yeah,
which is
Sorry.
nuts because that's like, wait, we just got back.
I know.
we're in October.
Yeah. Coming in number 2, True Lies from Fox back in 1994, $25.8 million its opening weekend.
A lot of people are chiming in with that one.
I enjoyed that.
That
It's
was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one where the trailer gets you set a certain mood for that. Remember?
It's more goofy than trailer, or I don't
No,
recall.
there's a baseline that kicks in during an action sequence in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That you're just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be an awesome movie.
And then did you feel it
It's
was
fine. It's fine.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
It's a good action 80s movie.
Yeah. I didn't mind seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger back in more of his.
Oh wait,
his
90s.
prime.
90s?
Yeah, 90s.
94.
94.
It feels dated.
There's always talk
Those
about.
high-waisted panties she has for that strip scene.
Oh,
Very
True.
dated.
True. All right. Yep.
But that was funny of her. Like that one was a funny. I think that scene stands out for some people too because it was also not very like what she normally does.
Yeah.
And Arnold. Yeah.
That's a series that's always been talked about. Like, hey, we should do a sequel to that, and it always been kind of percolating,
like,
but
nope.
it never happened.
Would it be called False Lies? Then, because
Yeah.
True Lies, doesn't
Thank
that
you.
make it the truth?
There you go.
Deep thoughts.
Deep dives.
Here.
Yeah, thanks.
Or
That sounds
false
very good.
truths.
False truths.
Flip it.
This is getting deep, guys. You're welcome.
Love it. Coming in number 1, Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
That's your favorite movie.
2008, $29.3 million. I take great pride in saying that I've never seen any of the Beverly Hills Chihuahuas films.
Films?
Yeah.
There's
Yes,
more
they
than
have.
one?
They have a
Yes,
few.
they have multiple films.
I think I saw part of it, and I love dogs, so they were.
That was
talking,
like
right?
this. Yeah, that was kind of like the big time of like moving the mouth for the dog talking. I'm like, I watched Homer Bound. We can do it like it's in their head and they can psychically talk to each other. Moving the mouth just looks like, well, because it's just like we've had this discussion on here of just when you know a movie's fake, but when they do something in it that we know for real world and then they do it wrong, you're just like, but that takes you out of it. So it's like we know dogs' mouths don't do that. So.
Well,
It's true. It could be when we're not looking.
You know.
But, it's like the classic coffee cup when they have nothing in it. And you're just like, but that's not how that moves.
Now, Jungle Book, the animated one, or the live action
Yes.
one.
That one did it better. Because I think maybe they've also gotten better on how they do the effects of it. Because I think back when,
2008.
08. Yeah, like 10 years ago, it was just really corny, But Jungle Book, it felt like a little more grounded.
Well, I'm eager to hear what you think of Lion King.
I'm curious.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting down to the end of the show, so we're just going to do our top 5 for next week. Of course, Halloween, the 2018 version, being the
probably
only one
be number
entering in.
one.
3,700 screens. Yep. Anybody not see that as number 1?
And during Halloween season, I'd be disappointed in the audiences of the youth and be like, come on, Halloween, yeah.
yeah,
Do we all just see Halloween number 1 and everything just drops down a notch?
yeah.
All right.
I'd like a little boost in bad times.
Goosebumps, I could maybe see go up just because it's getting close to Halloween and like it's the alternative for a family to go watch something.
Could you see that leaping over First Man?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just because like seasonal movies generally do well if they actually come out in that season. Like Nutcracker, I'm actually really excited for. That trailer looks like that's one that I'm like, oh, that trailer looks exciting because I do like the Nutcracker story. And you are so making a face. Did you ever see the cartoon Nutcracker Prince?
I did not.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this one is like, I want to know where they go with it. Anyway, comes out November 2nd, I think. And I'm like, oh, that should come out closer to Christmas time. It's not
Yeah.
even, or at least after Thanksgiving. Like, it feels too soon. Like, Smallfoot was the other one that I felt too soon. So, we'll see.
I will go and say that Goosebumps and First Man will swap spots. So
I think you're right on that
First
one.
Man will be rocking that top 5 spot, bottom 5 spot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to do our box office bet. Usually we have you folks, as we mentioned earlier, vote in the chat room about the film that we're going to bet on. But as there's only one release this week that we're going to be focusing on, Halloween, we're going to be just focusing on that. And again, 3,700 screens, the return of Michael Myers. We're rewinding back to a new continuity that spins out of the first Halloween film. Judy Greer joining as well.
Oh my gosh, I love her.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, everybody going to get their the totals in? Let's see. I feel like, now I'm just playing with house money since I've seen this film already. All right, I'm going to go. All right.
I've definitely heard more positive comments on it. Like most people are like, or solid. That was the word. They're like, it's a solid film, which is almost a polite way to be like, it's not bad.
I feel like solid, because I even mentioned that too, as a solid film. That I feel like there's good parts, but that you might have like a couple quibbles.
Okay.
That's how I would describe it as well.
Quibbles.
John in the chat says 65 million. Michael says 32.
That's a big difference.
It is.
Okay.
All right, well, Kari Lane, where do you fall in that gap?
I'm actually in the middle. I said 48.
Oh, Kari, 48, excuse me, with the opening gambit.
Ooh.
Amy?
I think,
Don't change it.
yeah, Anthony actually just texted us right now the same exact number that I have.
Oh, which is?
Wow.
67.
Wow. All right.
Whoa, that was trippy.
And I did 45.
Okay.
Whoa.
So
you're the bottom.
I am the bottom. I guess there you go. I guess we all know what I think of this film.
Levy's Peak says 40, so even less.
Oh.
And Jonathan says 55.
I mean, it would be,
So we all feel it's going to do pretty well, but at
Yes.
least above 30.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, because I mean, I think you want this film to do well, but when it does well, that means, hey, let's do another one.
That's true.
And then that's going to just then have to run head to head with head against my quibbles that I have at the end of the film. But we'll talk about that more once more people have seen this film. Until then, like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up, or 2, or 3, or 4, however many you can while you're there.
Reach.
And thanks everybody for hopping in the chat. We couldn't do the show without you. Usually we need you up for the box office bet, but today we did it without you. But don't think that is a every week occurrence. No. You're still a valuable part of the box office breakdown community here. But if Kari, if they're watching even after we stream live, what can they do?
Comment down below. And then since we're talking about Halloween, which one of the Halloween franchise movies is your favorite?
Ooh, that's a good topic. But until then,
And
folks,
why?
And well, yeah, we need the whys, folks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, who cares?
Yes, I am.
But if you want to get in touch with us, even after the show's over, Kari, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KaridLane.
And you guys can find me on all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ.
Nailed it.
Thanks, guys.
And follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Folks, thanks for joining us for this episode of Box Office Breakdown. We'll see you back here next Sunday with another new episode right here on Popcorn Talk. Go see some movies.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.